for the new video, part 2. So now I'm putting here under recordings, we have part 2. Part 2, and add that there. And then also we have down here, we need to share settings, share, copy. Okay, but we did miss, somebody missed the budget updates, right? Budget updates. So whoever is doing the video indexing missed that.
Sorry.
So this would be for James and Steve. So I don't know what we're gonna do there, but we could try to estimate how long it's been, etc. And this is the part 2 now. So it's a new link for that.
Okay.
Alrighty. Okay, so you guys were not...
Actually, that took about 30 minutes. Actually, 34 minutes.
So what are you saying? It's like 1 hour and 1 hour, 30 minutes or something like that?
The last part regarding the new budgets, it took 34 minutes.
Okay, but we need to know the start time of when it started in the, so it's 34 minutes long. But when did it start? That's the question, is when it started in the video so that we can index it. Anyways, you guys can try to figure that out. I am going to go ahead and
continue with the other topic.
Get our contents updated. All right, so weekly, monthly, temporal responsibilities, and then we need a link.
Which one? Which?
So I go into worker coordination, because all of our responsibilities are worker coordination, because responsibilities are created in order to support workers to be organized and get work done, right? So this is going to be the responsibility, general organizing of all responsibilities. And also, this is unacceptable to have all these videos here for responsibly organized. This is not where responsibly organizing videos go. All right, this is not where responsibility organizing videos go. It goes inside the responsibility organizing process doc.
Just inside that.
All right, so that's a task that can be added to our tasks list for today. Whoever's doing the master task list, which I seem to feel that nobody's doing, but if anyone wants to volunteer, help out with that, very important. So this is what we want here is the general organizing of all responsibilities doc. Within the general organizing of all responsibilities doc, we have a couple things. One, this is the responsibility right here. It's called update the daily, weekly, monthly responsibility spreadsheets. So that's what we're talking about. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of yes. It sounds like it doesn't make sense. What is update the daily, weekly, monthly responsibility spreadsheets? Like that's the actual responsibility. So
Daily, weekly. You're talking about the work tracking.
So here's the general purpose.
The work tracking spreadsheet.
To make sure that responsibilities which happen regularly are verified and updated so that we know they're happening on the schedule specified. Okay, so most responsibilities happen at a regularly scheduled interval, or at least happen regularly in a general way. And so therefore we can schedule them to happen on a reoccurring basis. Does that make sense? Or no, is that not making sense? Or are you guys paying attention? What are you doing, Joyce? Joyce, what are you doing?
Hi. Yes, you cannot hear me.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
A question, Joyce? What are you doing?
No, I was. Do you need the link to the?
No,
Are you gonna see?
I got the links because you guys didn't get them, so I got them all.
Okay.
So I want you to pay attention so that you're following along. So again, the general purpose of creating monthly, weekly, temporal responsibility spreadsheets and verifying them is to make sure that the responsibilities which happen regularly on a regularly scheduled basis are verified and updating so we know they're happening on the schedule specified. Are you guys following me?
Yes.
Yes is not a particularly good answer. Let's hear a little more than that. Like what am I saying? Asif, Thomas,
Well,
Lilia?
well, it's just that my understanding of this is that these people who are in charge of this responsibility in particular will have to just check that then again every week or daily responsibilities are being done.
Okay, so what you said is generally correct, but you're actually talking about a different responsibility, which is weekly responsibility spreadsheet verification, right? Weekly responsibility verification spreadsheet. Okay, so there's another responsibility, right? So basically this one we want to make sure, right? Make sure the responsibilities that happen on a temporal schedule are added and organized on the temporal responsibility verification spreadsheet. Does that make sense?
It's
Yeah.
yes. I'm sorry, 5-minute mark.
Okay, and then this one is going to be actually review and verify the responsibilities that need to get done every week to make sure they got done. Do you see how those are very different responsibilities? Do you see how those are very different responsibilities?
So then the general organized, where is it?
Updating the daily, weekly, monthly responsibility spreadsheet is simply adding the
Updating the
responsibilities
spreadsheet.
so that all the responsibilities that happen regularly are on the spreadsheets for daily, weekly, monthly responsibilities. Actually verifying that the responsibilities got done is a totally separate responsibility. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, now I got it. Okay.
So there would be daily, there would be weekly, there would be monthly, there would be twice per month, right? And these are all separate responsibilities. Okay, the most important one always is the monthly, right? Or whatever the biggest time frame is, right? So we have 5-year, 10-year, whatever. That's always the most important one. And then the next most important one is always within the bigger schedule cycle, the bigger cycle. Okay. So a daily, there's never a daily responsibility. There's no daily responsibility that is to review the weekly responsibility, right? The weekly responsibility would be to review that we've done the twice per week responsibilities. And the twice per week responsibilities would be to review that we've done the daily responsibilities. Does that make sense? So the bigger the cycle is, the more important it is, all right? So let me note that down here. The bigger the cycle is, the more important, right? Okay. So I think you guys are starting to kind of get the concept. So let's go through payroll, because now the whole point we're doing this is to understand payroll to try to improve our payroll system. So here we have the main cycles that we do are daily, weekly, twice per month, monthly, and there's also going to be twice per week. Let me add twice per week real quick.
I'm sorry, that's the topic, am I right?
Sorry,
Then
what?
we're going to the next one, to the payroll.
No, we're still in updating the monthly, weekly responsibilities.
Temporal responsibility.
Temporal responsibilities, but the reason we're talking about
I
this is in regards to the problem of payroll not getting done regularly, and this is to help us because we want to add payroll to the monthly and weekly responsibilities that need to happen every single week, and we need to be verifying that they're getting done. Do you see how it relates?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're currently we're not.
I see that it relates.
Currently, we're not doing this. And Lilia, one thing that you mentioned is that this is someone else's responsibility. This is everybody's responsibility. Everybody needs to understand the regularly occurring responsibilities and making sure that they're verified on a daily, twice a week, weekly, twice per month, and monthly basis. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's, ideally we could actually, how much time do we have?
3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. All right, well, ideally we would go through each one of them. So we'll do that as a next step. So next step is to review every single type of temporal frequency, right? Or temporal cycle. So add to next step. So if someone could add us to the next steps, whoever the note taker is, review all temporal responsibility cycles. Excuse me.
Don't worry.
I drink that water. Okay, so the one that happens the most often is the session, the per session, multiple times per day. Okay, so there is things that happen for every single session, that happen for every buddy team session, that happen for every team session, etc. Okay, so the session responsibility verification spreadsheet. Everybody should understand that one. It's always there every single session. Then you have daily, twice per week, weekly. Okay, so we're going to go into weekly responsibilities. Actually, let's start with twice per week. So we're skipping daily and the session ones, which are very important. But there's one very important component of twice per week responsibility verification that is not getting done. And that is, oh, this is not working, is it? Is it going to work? Just thinking about it.
Sorry, it's 1 minute for the 10-minute mark.
Okay, yeah, we're going to need a couple more minutes, but just keep letting us know how many. We're probably going to go over by like 5 minutes, but
yes,
we're making progress. This is really important. Okay, so the responsibility, the mid-week assigned work check. Does everyone understand that responsibility?
No, I have to be honest, not me. I don't.
So 50% of your time is supposed to be spent on 50% of your time is supposed to be spent on assigned work, right? So if all you're doing is attending meetings and watching videos, you're not following the policies, and therefore we can ask you not to do any more week. I guess technically this is a weekly assignment because this is twice a week. It actually only happens once a week in the middle of the week. So we actually need to go weekly, but so let's go back to weekly. Right, so here's the responsibility. God, it's going so slow. There it goes. Midweek assigned work check-in. It's worker coordination and payroll and personnel support. Okay. So does that make sense? It's one of our personnel policies.
Yes, no, it does.
So the way that this works is very different than any other responsibility verification system, right? You put the week here, so this would be the week of October. What is it? October.
It was the 16th.
16th to 23rd or something like that.
If we go to Saturday, will be 21st.
So
It
basically,
was 15.
I'm sorry, 15. You're correct. 15 to the 21st.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right. 15 and 21. Okay. So did the main Atlantic session happen? No, probably didn't, right? So these are all the things that are supposed to happen every week. Did we do the steering team and management session for what, right? I think this one might be deleted, but whatever. So maybe it's happens every once a week. FQ1 experience, no, didn't happen. No, didn't happen. Quarter moon session, again, quarter moon sessions don't happen weekly. So this is actually going to be twice per month, right? Main Andrometine session also now only happens twice per month. And I don't really want this hyperlink here because we don't need it. Twice per month. So this is a problem, needs to be fixed. Investor relations. Well, we did a little bit. Maybe we could say, 20%. Payroll not getting done, right? So so this would be specifically weekly payroll, right? So weekly payroll is not getting done. Exit finances, and this isn't getting done, so that's a 0, right? So do you guys see where I'm going with this? So every week you reviewing all the things that need to get done every week. Worker coordination, we're doing some worker coordination. Exit finances, we're doing some exit finances. Exit pass value tracking, I wouldn't say this is necessarily a weekly thing, more of a one-time. Main Andromeda session, again, we already covered that one. Main Sonic team session, it did happen, right? This is 100%. That's good. Exit executive board support, 100%. Life support, support alliance, we're not really doing that much anymore. Exit weekly value tracking. Malia, you know anything about Jorge?
Yep.
Yeah, actually.
What percentage is exit weekly value tracking? I want a percentage.
Yeah, I would say like 70%.
70%. Cool. Let's just say 75% so that we can have something actually, so we have it green, right? So green.
Okay, yeah. It's been higher than that because every single week it varies, but it's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so you basically are just verifying, seeing where we are, seeing what's going on, and that's it. So that's how these work, right? So the midweek assigned check-in is supposed to happen. It's not happening. We're gonna get that better. From there, and then the next week, it doesn't matter whether we got everything done the week before. The next week, we have a new week to get it all done, right? How cool is that? So you just added the new week, and then this tracks over time how we're improving on getting all of our weekly responsibilities done, and it verifies it, and we can review, month to month exactly how well we're doing on improving on our weekly responsibilities. Okay. So now let's go. What happened? Did someone just delete something?
No, haven't touched it.
Someone just deleted something. Someone just deleted the.
I transferred to the twice per month.
Okay, you transferred it. Okay, good.
Yes.
As long as you transferred it, that's all that matters. All right. So if we go to, so let's go to monthly. I'm gonna skip the twice per month because we don't have a lot of time. But obviously, twice per month there would be a twice per month payroll that would need to be happening. And it's more than just payroll. It's good to note that it is
5 minutes over the mark.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so with payroll, there's two things with all payroll processes. There's weekly payroll support, right? Actually, there's three things, right? There's weekly payroll support, there's weekly payroll verification, and then there's the weekly pay hours and work spreadsheet, right? So you have to get all three of those done to really complete it. And this is all going to go, payroll is now a project. Payroll will be the project, okay? Perfect. All right, so then let's go to monthly. So monthly, here are responsibilities. Obviously, we're not very good on our monthly responsibilities yet. They're not, and then also we can show who's doing the responsibilities, right? So this is all still new. Like this was assigned to people to do and they just never did it, okay? But now we're trying to get more people involved in knowing about these because I'm telling you, this is what's gonna get us organized is almost every single responsibility that we have, it happens on some type of regularly occurring process. Even taxes. Taxes happen once a year, so it would be in the once per year category, right?
Right.
All right, so let's see. This would be okay. So now we're doing payroll. So payroll will be the project, and there's two types of payroll. One would be, so it'd be the end of month payroll. Is that correct? Oh, I forgot. Oh wait, the midweek check-in. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Never mind. So end of month payroll. End of month payroll verification. And what's the last one? End of month pay and hours spreadsheet verification. Okay. And then we have our monthly budget, right? Monthly budget.
Yeah.
Team budgets, right? Team budgets. And then we can also put due dates here. So for example, you have the first of month, you have individual and buddy, main buddy team, provisional buddy team budgets due, right? Okay.
Okay.
This would be maybe like, you know, the first Saturday of month, and this is the second Saturday of month. All right, so it gives us a little bit of a leadway of when they are due. Okay, cool. So accounting, payroll, we're also going to be doing real-time finances, real-time taxes, all those other good stuff. So anyways, there's this the new moon session. Boom. How cool is that? So again, this would be like October. This would be like November. What came before September, right? September. So we go through and see, you know, how much we got done in September. But for October, at least, there's a couple really cool things here. Delete.
Okay, we're 8 minutes over the mark.
Okay, thank you. We can say that our new moon session happened 100%. We did it. How cool is that, right?
Right.
So eventually, we're going to be switching to the moon cycle is going to be our month. Like everything's going to switch to the moon cycle, and we're not going to be on the Gregorian calendar soon. And the new moon session would be the first session of the month. So at the beginning of the month would always be the new moon session. Okay.
Okay, got it. That's
Mercury sessions don't actually happen monthly, so this wouldn't really make sense. Oh, also here you have twice per month verification. This is very, very important. You have to make sure that every month you're reviewing the twice per month verification. So this would be first half, and then this would be the second half. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So twice per month, you do the twice per month verification. Cool. Anyway, so I think that's enough on this, but there's a lot that needs to be done. Every single responsibility that has a temporal framework needs to be added to the temporal responsibilities and needs to be verified on a regular basis. Every single month, twice a month, weekly, twice a week, daily, in every session. Okay. So I think we're done with that.
Okay.
Any questions?
So on that part of who is doing that responsibility or task, are we going to fill the one responsible for that?
Yeah, I mean, everyone should be making sure that your responsibilities are in there so that we know how often your responsibilities are supposed to happen. Updating the daily, weekly, monthly spreadsheets would probably happen quarterly. So every quarter, we should be reviewing all of the daily, weekly, monthly spreadsheets and making sure that they're all up to date and are done correctly, right? So we need to do that now, get it done. Then weekly and monthly and daily, all that kind of stuff will always be constantly being updated, but everybody needs to be responsible for it because everybody should be doing it, right?
Yeah, I get it now.
Cool. Awesome. All right. And then also there's like one of the roles within our sessions is the session verification, right? The session verification. Let me see what's called here. So under setup, we have session task responsibility verifier. So you go to the session verification spreadsheet, and somebody every single session should be reviewing that everything got done and completed for every single session. And it looks like right here we have the Sonic main session. So you would add a column, and you would title it the new moon session, and then you would double check that everything got done. And that can happen both before and after a session. So this is just, these are just all the things that happen for every single session. There's a ton of things that go into these sessions. It's a lot of work, right? Including, yeah, I could go on and on about setting up a session. Like we took months just to get us organized to actually be able to function as a session. So we're doing really good now. All right, let's go on to the next topic. Okay. How are we doing on time?
We were 10 minutes above time, and we just spent 2 minutes with this last question.
Yeah, but I mean, how are people feeling in terms of like stopping or keep going? Or I mean, because we've been going pretty long. Are you guys good to go? Another like, 20 minutes?
It's no problem for me, but people's been here for 1 hour more than me, so I don't know.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind to.
Even I don't mind.
Cool. Let's just keep going through this. There's so much to do, and we just want to catch up on all of it. It's an excellent opportunity.
Yeah.
And we only do this once a month for our new moons, and it would be great to get into our monthly goals. Did we skip that? Let's make sure we didn't skip it. Monthly goals. Okay. Team Equity, why is the monthly goals not there? Monthly goals are way down here. No. Gotta do monthly goals up here. All right. I don't know why monthly goals were so low on the list. I thought I put them really high, but maybe it got changed. Okay, so payroll.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that topic we had already covered. I think it was the one regarding having them get paid on the 22nd.
Well, but the idea was to go through a little more detail about where we currently are and what needs to get done to make sure payroll happens.
Okay.
So our desired outcome, and it's always important for every single topic is to be clear on what we're doing, because every single topic has an infinite number of subtopics, right? Okay. So a desired outcome for this particular topic is to, have a plan that we know can be followed to get the payroll done. Okay, so right now we're on end of month payroll. So I think it's fine just to talk about end of month payroll, but in terms of weekly payroll, somebody who needs weekly payroll needs to check in regularly and make sure that they're updating that and that it's happening.
Hello, Jay.
Yeah.
Just a quick update. We have covered the proposals, and we are moving on to the goals.
What proposals?
The goals for the month.
What proposals are you talking about?
The ones, the updated ones which we did for the mass session, and also for these sessions that you passed on the main Hangout.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't pass anything on the main Hangout.
The one that you covered on the advances and such.
I still have no idea what you're talking about. So we told you guys all of our right, like Thomas, you went over and told them that we approved our topics, right? And
yeah, I told them that.
So we approved our topics and desired outcomes, and you guys should let us know if there was any major changes or differences, but I don't know what you're talking about in terms of all the proposals or what the purpose and desired outcome of that. What desired outcome are you referring to?
I'm saying that we are done with the proposals and we are moving on to the goals for the next month.
Okay, but I still don't understand what the proposals are. If there's a new proposal and you guys approve it, you guys should bring it to our group so that we can review it and approve it as well. This is not the executive team or the board or anything that is reviewing past proposals. That's not the role of the core team.
I'm sorry. I think they're talking about the money for Steve and.
Are you guys talking about the proposals for Steve and you?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, you guys need to just talk in specifics because just saying general proposals is a meaningless statement to me. It will always be a meaningless statement. We have thousands of proposals we're dealing with. So anytime you say general proposal in general, I have no idea what you're talking about. So it's like you need to say the specific proposal. Otherwise, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
Cool. All right, sounds good. We're about to get to, we're doing a little on payroll right now, and we're about to get to the week monthly goals as well. What's up, Steve?
Jay?
Yeah.
Do you have 2 minutes to come over and facilitate bus for us?
A what? Bus?
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do bus. I don't know well enough.
I mean, I would just skip it for now. I don't know if it's really a priority. I thought you guys were doing monthly goals.
Okay. I mean, bus was on the topics list, so I figured you wanted it on there for some reason. All right.
Well, yeah, it'd be good to talk about it, but I don't know if we're gonna get to it. It's
if you have time to come over, if not, don't worry about it.
Sounds good. All right, so we're doing payroll right now. Hi, Lucy. Do you have a question as well? Lucy? No? Okay. All right, so we're doing, let's just finish up with payroll, then get to the monthly goals. So give us 5 minutes or 4 more minutes on the payroll. So end of month payroll is the focal point. Does everyone understand that weekly payroll, if someone wants to do that, they need to step up and like get it done, right? That makes sense?
Now it does, yes.
So payroll verification is one step. So the thing that's getting done is one responsibility is updating the pay hours spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
So this is getting done good. So that's good. Payroll verification spreadsheet typically has problems. And then you have payroll support. And then there's running the payroll. And there's also real-time payroll finances. Okay, so these are all the responsibilities involved with payroll. This should also be copied and indexed into the payroll verification process or payroll freaking doc, right? Payroll doc. So index this information. Make sure it's all in there. So let's start with the payroll verification spreadsheet. So I'm going to open up the payroll doc right here. Go to payroll. So, and let's just do this right now because I doubt anyone else can do it. Let's get it done. So I'm going to copy all these responsibilities into the payroll doc to make sure that they are in there. So updating the pay hour spreadsheet. So you have the spreadsheet of team work hours and pay, right? So that one's getting done pretty good. So are there any questions about that?
No, not really.
So then we have the payroll verification spreadsheet. So this is where some of the problems start occurring. Payroll payments verification spreadsheet. So we're looking at the end of month for June. July obviously is not the correct month. So one thing that's for sure is that it would be helpful to actually reduce the size of the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is way too big. I would like copy it and like actually have a new one for each month. potentially, because it's just way too much information on one spreadsheet. So we could note that down on our tasks here. So maybe make a new payroll verifications spreadsheet because it is too much information on one document. Okay, so here's the end of month for September, October. Is that the correct? I believe that's the correct month.
The current one, yes.
So their time has been verified. Does anyone know what that means, that their time has been verified?
Okay, what does it mean? I don't understand.
All right, well, it means that we did the spreadsheet for teamwork hours and pay. Right, so that's the responsibility for updating the pay hours and spreadsheet. So in the payroll verification spreadsheet, it just says that it's verified that all those have been done correctly for each person.
Okay.
Right, and that's by itself, that is a huge amount of work. Right, that alone is just unbelievable amount of work to go through every single person's payroll, making sure all their verification is correct, that all their pay is correct. What's going to be added to that process is we need to start taking out all of the actual work that people are doing for the clients and put it into the client work reports, so then we can charge the clients. Okay?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Okay, we are getting to the 5-minute mark. Don't worry, actually, I did stop the clock when we were interrupted with the other questions. So this is the actual 5 minutes that we already had like planned. So we still have 5 more.
Perfect. Okay, so this next column is the total monthly pay. So this is the amount of money that we are expecting to pay each person for the month.
Okay.
So one thing that strikes me is Abdul, it says $500, right? You know, why would it say $500 for Abdul? I really have no idea, but I can't imagine that could be correct, because I don't see why Abdul should be getting paid $500 and other people are not. So that would be strikingly evident that it's odd. Zulu looks good. So all this looks pretty good. Nelly, 797. I would double check that. Jorge, you know why? You know why it's higher? Okay, I know why it's higher. It's because this is a 5-week pay period.
Ah,
So
okay.
these are all. So Abdul gets paid $100 a week, and it's $500 because it's $100, and there's 5 weeks. This has 5 weeks. Once we go to the lunar sessions, it'll always be 4 weeks. Every single lunar session will be the same. But with the Gregorian calendar, some months have 5 weeks. Okay. So does everyone understand the total monthly pay? So this is the total monthly pay for this particular pay period, which is September, October, which happens to be 5 weeks. Okay.
I'm sorry, if we see something that we don't think it's right, who do we approach to change that?
The first thing you do is you make it yellow.
Okay.
Right. So yellow means that it needs to be reviewed.
Okay.
But also now is the time to bring it up if you have a question or there's something that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's just in my case, I mean, I'm looking at mine, it says 258, and I was supposed to be 350 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, let's go through it. So if we click on, so this all comes down to the work tracking and pay spreadsheet, right? So the work tracking and pay spreadsheet is very important.
Okay.
So let's go back a step and review the work tracking pay sheet. We'll use Lilia as an example. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the right month, and the month that we're working with is
October.
And again, this one's getting a little overwhelming too. October 15th to November 11th. So it's our September 10th to October 14th. All right. And then let's go down a little bit. We can see Leah here. So Leah is $350 for 15 hours at 50%, right? So the first week you work 6.75 hours. The second week you work 15 hours. The third week you work 9 hours. And then you have 9 hours for the fourth week and 3.3 hours for the fifth week, which is really low. So if this is incorrect, then that would be, we would want to fix that. But basically, if you're looking at 15 hours for $350 and you're not working, you're only working half of that, you wouldn't be expected to be getting paid for all the time you're not working, right? So
it's just that I thought in the other one it was like the like that was the standard. Let's say that was the amount that you were going to get if you get those 15 hours, for example. So then I have to check this one first, and I do the math.
So it says here you worked 44.3 hours, and the total based on hours is 258. And for the 5-week period, it would have been 437 if you worked 15 hours every week. So explain again, Lilia, what your question was?
3 minutes.
Okay, but explain your question again on the hours and the total.
Yeah, it's just that I thought that in the other one, for example, it's just in the previous page that we were checking, I mean, that we had like the amount, let's say in my case, it was 350, no matter what. I mean, that it was just like that was a settled amount. I didn't know that this was
So you're saying that we should pay people like $300 or whatever we agreed to them, regardless of whether they work?
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, yeah, we should pay them the amount of hours that they work. I just thought that the other one was like just hard, like cold data. I thought that line in particular was just cold data, that it was just like for us to know that was what they what they would be getting paid if they will have the 15 hours, for example. But since in my case I'm not doing all of the hours, then it will come to whatever other amount for the hours that they work. Yeah. But again, I thought that it was just like, again, cold data, that first line.
Yeah, column and then the rest. D, actual amount of money that we owe for the month's pay. So this is total owed for month's pay.
Oh, okay. That was my
thing. So this is not a budget anymore. So the difference between budgeting and payroll is payroll's actual money going out, whereas budgeting is just general budget, you know, about how much money we are expected or potentially going to spend, right? So this is where payroll gets into the point where we end the context of general budget, and this is actual money. So this is the actual amount of money owed for that particular person. So for example, Julie didn't work, it's 0, right? Benji worked a little bit, so we're paying him a little bit. Yeah. Cool.
Now it's understandable. Now I got it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So then what we have here is we have the amount of money paid in week 1. So this is the actual amount of money that was already paid to these people in week 1. I'm actually doing ether for mine, so this is just going to be a number.
Sorry, we just reached to the 10-minute mark.
Okay, cool. We're going over. But thank you for reminding us, because it reminds us, oh my God, we got to like speed up and like get things going. But this is important stuff. So paid for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. You can see that we paid people for week 1 and 2, but then week 3, 4, and 5, we didn't actually pay people. Hey, what's up, Nelly?
Hi.
Hi. So I have a new proposal. I mean, I know we are down the proposal. It was like we were talking about the hours and expectations, so we got to an idea. So let me put it here. I don't know, where are you in the pages?
We're at FQN payroll. We're going over FQN payroll.
Yeah, let me put it at the bottom. Is the proposal that senior managers will take responsibility of viewing and comparing hours to expectation to their team members. And if there are still, if a deficiency is found, they can speak to those involved if the problem continues. So it should be brought at the main session for further review by the full team.
Okay, so the current policy is that we have a responsibility, which is the midweek check-in on assigned work, right? So that seems like what you're referring to, which we actually just talked about here. And so you're saying that instead of that being a responsibility, a general responsibility, you're saying that it should be specifically assigned to senior managers?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because senior managers will be overviewing like the whole team working on responsibilities.
Okay, well, anyways, we'll talk about it and go over it. I mean, overall, my thought process on it is that we just need somebody to take the responsibility of the midweek check-in on assigned work. It doesn't matter whether they're a senior manager or not, it just needs to get done. And there could be many people working on that. because the responsibility itself needs to get done regardless of who does it. And I mean, it's perfectly fine if senior manager want to do it, but I could care less if someone else wants to do it. Like, it just needs to happen. And we also need to keep the senior managers accountable as well. You know? So,
Yes.
and it can be done by one person for the whole global core team. We don't need 6 people to take on that role. It's a lot of extra work doing it for every single team member when one person could probably do it for the whole global team. But anyways, either way,
Yes.
we'll double check on it. I think it's a really good thing to bring up. We've already talked about it as well, so we think that's very important.
Mhm.
Do you guys understand what the responsibility is though? Like, all you have to do is on Wednesdays, you would go to the work hours and pay spreadsheet, update it, and make sure that people are simply working 50% time and not just doing the trainings. That's all it takes. It's like not a big complicated thing.
Yeah, got it.
Understood.
Because maybe you guys are talking about something else as well. Does that make sense, Nelly?
Yes, we were talking about to overview that everyone is doing what they are up for do. Like, for example, if they have any responsibility, that they are actually doing the job. If not, senior managers will be able to, to take this situation to a main session with the full team.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys might be talking about something more than just the midweek check-in.
Yes, exactly.
But it says comparing hours. Anyway, so it's very unclear. It's not particularly clear to me. Anyways, we're going to get back to payroll, and we'll review this right afterwards, and et cetera. But maybe you guys should try to clarify the proposal and relate it to where we are now, because every single proposal, it's very important to understand where we are currently, what is the current policy, and how are you guys proposing changing it, because that's not clear.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Good work.
Thank
All right,
you.
so let's get back to payroll here. Where were we? So we had week 3, 4, and 5 were not paid, so that's the ones that we need to add. So then if you subtract the money that was paid, this should be the amount that's left to pay for each person. And that's the total in column K. So does that make sense so far, everybody?
It's making sense.
Yeah, it's making sense.
Cool. And so people who are only paid monthly would have no payments, and all their total pay would need to be still left because they haven't been paid at all. All right. All right. So
Okay.
the next thing is this is where it gets more complicated, right? So the first thing we have is covering the costs and the fees, right? So Asif Iqbal, Abdul, Zilu usually has fees. Asif Razu usually has. Well, actually, we don't. Yeah, we do cover those fees, but we don't need to cover them here. We can cover them afterwards. Aline, Benji, Julie usually covers fees, so that looks good. Anyone can request to have their fees covered. Advances. So both Julie and Benji have advances, so those look like they're updated.
I'm so sorry. What do you mean with paid fees?
So if you have fees, we are willing to pay them. As an example, I think, how are we paying you, like Western Union? Yeah, so we end up paying like, sometimes 10, 15, 20 bucks. I think you're in Mexico, so it's less. Sometimes Mexico, it doesn't have any fees. So we pay all of those fees to make sure the money gets to everybody. But let's say you had additional transaction fees or fees for, how much was taken out for exchange rates or fees for, on your side, you can give us the receipts and bill those to us, and we'll cover those fees.
Oh, okay.
So basically what we say is we guarantee people to get the amount of money that we said that we would pay them regardless of the pay system.
So according to what you have said, Jay, covered cost is charges that occurs when transacting money in maybe in a PayPal or something like that, yeah? Right?
Yeah, like PayPal sometimes has fees of like, 3% or whatever, and so that's why we pay Benji, for example. This 92 cents covers his PayPal fees, and the PayPal fees are 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction.
Okay, got it.
So it is same like Upwork fees, right?
Upwork, the fees are, I believe for you, it's 20% fees for Upwork. So we cover all of your Upwork fees. And then Abdul, it's 10% because he's over the 500 mark. So we cover all of your Upwork fees so that you actually get the amount of money that we said that we would pay you.
Well, okay, great.
Yeah. So are there any other questions about the fees? But the fees do affect your HR ranking, because the more fees you have, the more money it costs us to pay your salary. So, and you could easily choose a payment method that has less fees, and then you would save us money, right? So it does affect your HR ranking.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Understood.
All right. So any other questions on the fees? All right. Next we have advances. We covered the advances. Any questions on advances?
No.
Okay, so then we have reimbursements. So reimbursements, we don't really do a lot of reimbursements, but sometimes they could come up. Like, let's say you purchased, like, you know, some sort of thing that you needed for your team, or there was a local event or whatever, we would reimburse someone. Prepaid would be money that's already been paid. So Abdul's already been paid $135 from Upwork. Let's see if Iqbal got paid $22. So some people get prepaid even though we haven't done it yet. Does that make sense?
Yes, we got to the 5 minute over the mark.
Okay, cool. So then we have output. Output is the newest one that we're doing a lot more on output. Oh my goodness. So Steve should have some output. The other thing is other bonuses. So this would include, for example, here, this would be Julie's and Benji's, what's it called? Their maternity and paternity leave. I would double check this to make sure it's correct, because I don't think we owe Benji anymore for paternity leave. Abdul, negative 640. This would imply that we paid him too much money last month. So I don't know what this is. Lucy, bonus. Bonus. I don't know what Lucy's bonus would be. But I'm assuming this might be output, so it might be just output for her other work. So this is the part that's obviously causing the most problems, is actually being able to update the output bonus and the deliverables bonus and making sure that all the other bonuses and everything are dealt with. But other than that, everything's looking pretty good. Like, we're really close here, okay? And then the other thing is just prioritizing it. So the person who does payroll support needs to prioritize it, and make sure the treasurer is able to run the payroll. Right? So how many people have asked me to run the payroll in the last week? Like, basically zero, right? Like, no one is like stepping up to like actually schedule and focus it in and make sure that all the other things that I'm dealing with can get out of the way so we can focus on this. So anyways, do you guys want to go through output bonus and deliverables bonus and learn more about that, or do you guys want to just move on? So basically the next steps on the payroll is just to schedule the time, finish up getting all of this finalized, then you would do the final total, and then you would go through final total verification, and it would all get finalized and verified. There might be a couple other people like James Donald that we're adding in, Mel, although I don't think they're in there. Yeah. Cool. So that might be another issue that we want to address here. So do you guys want to go through the output, or do you guys want to move on to the next topic, or what?
Actually, I do have a couple of questions there.
So we should do the output real quick?
Yes, it is about output, actually.
Okay, so let's go through the output real quick, okay? So here it says, Zilu, need to check blah, blah, blah. What is this? Spreadsheet? I don't know what spreadsheet. Anyways, let's just go to the payroll, work tracking, hours, and pay spreadsheet. So down here is where we should have the totals of all the people's bonuses and everything, but we don't have that, okay? So let's go into Zilu. So Zilu, it says 5.5 hours, other senior manager time, 0.1 hours of senior manager time. I mean, that's not even a shift. I don't know what that means. So I would just basically, ignore that. But 5.5 hours is substantial. I'm assuming this is 5.5 hours of taxes and finance work. Here we have FQN output 1.25 hours. So basically the first thing that you should do is like when you put this, it would be 1.25 hours of what? You know, write what the output is, right? Why just say initial output of what, right? Of what? Right, so if I was doing output, I would say, okay, client output, you know, 2 hours for EXA secretary executive team. Right. Right,
also for, it's also applicable for the client hours.
3 hours, Anya's taxes. Say what?
It is also applicable for client hours because that's recorded on the work tracking document.
I don't want to. We don't need to. We shouldn't have to go back to your work tracking document in order to calculate your output. Right. So we have.
Yeah, but my question is for
people.
client hours because client hours is something that
You're talking about. You're talking about. I think you're talking about client billing, right? Or am I missing something?
No, there's a column there, the client hours.
Client hours, yeah.
Yeah, should we specify every single thing that we did during the week because that will be allowed for only one space on that. No. It's only output and deliverables because it's the bonuses. Okay, great.
Yeah. So client hours are not bonus, and so you don't get any bonus hours. So we're the assigned work hours and the client hours is just to get the baseline, right? So again, we're going backwards now, but actually this is the senior managers right here. The midweek check-in. What you're checking on is everybody has 100% time, right? So everyone's working the time. Of that 100% time, 50% of it, half of it, of your time is equal to assigned work. That means 50% of your time, for example, can be here at the New Moon session. At this New Moon session, how much work are we getting done? How much hours of work are we getting done at the session?
Oh.
Of assigned work. Yeah, of assigned work.
For this session, nothing.
Nothing. Zero. Nothing. So we are in this session, we are doing absolutely no work whatsoever, and we're not doing any assigned work. Does that mean it's not important? No. In fact, learning, training, getting on the same page, making sure we're doing the right work and that we have priorities is just as important as actually doing the work. So half of our time can be spent on non-assigned work and organizing yourself, getting yourself organized, getting your team organized, getting your buddy teams organized, helping and supporting each other is half of all of our time. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the other half of your time is supposed to be focused on assigned work. When you're a brand new worker, you get like 2 weeks or so. Basically, you can watch training videos, come to sessions, do training, and you don't do any work. Right? That's perfectly fine. Right? But once you get to the point where you should have gotten trained in at least 1 or 2 responsibilities, then you need to start. Half your time needs to be assigned work. Otherwise, at the midweek check-in, you're going to be asked to take the rest of the week off, right? So if all you're doing is just training and watching training videos week after week and not doing assigned work, that's not acceptable. We'll be like, you know what? You used up 100% of your time on your training, and that's it. So you have no more time to do training for the rest of the week. So therefore, you can only do assigned work. You can't attend any more sessions, and we have to ask you to come back next week. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
In addition to that, 25% of your time should be equal to client. All right? So that would be the goal, is that you have 1 or 2 client responsibilities, and your goal is to move towards half of your work time being on client work as opposed to just FQN work. So this is why, right? If we're getting paid $1,000 for client work, right? That means our work budget is $500 because assigned work, half of our work is going to be for the client work. And then the actual total time means that this equals to really a $250 budget. Right? We estimate half of it, a $500 budget, but technically speaking, we should, like the real value of the work that we're doing is that when we get $1,000 from the client, it's really only $250 a month of client work. Right? That's how you run a business, right? Because if all we do is the client work and we don't do anything else, we just go out of business because we don't have enough money to cover all the costs of running our own business. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
And you guys all need to understand that, because every single team needs to be run like a business. It needs to be bringing in enough money, not just to cover the client work, but to also cover the cost of running your team and being organized and getting your shit together. Okay?
It's how we do billing, because you say that for billing we have like the assigned budget and the committed budget.
Yes.
Right? And we need to ask for more just in case we can cover all the teams' responsibilities.
Yeah. So currently for client billing, we take the total cost, and we multiply it by 2. Right? So let's say we spend $500 in a month, and that would equal, or let's say we spend $5,000, or no, let's say we spend $2,500 in a month. We would charge the client $5,000.
$5,000, yeah.
Right? And this is upfront. In addition to that, plus we charge an additional 2x for equity and tokens, which would equal additional $5,000 of tokens. Up to 500 tokens slash. Okay, so we're getting half of the total amount of money that we should be from the client. We're basically we're offering a 50% discount, which is part of why we don't get all the work done, because they're not paying us enough money. If they paid us the full value of all the work that we're supposed to be doing for them, we would have more people and we would have a lot more work getting done, and we would hire more people locally. And one of the problems with the local hiring is that we just don't have enough money because they don't give us enough money.
And another problem is that no one else is like rating or ads or no. Steve has a proposal for recruitment on local universities, but still we are checking recruitment and no one locally is like applying for FQM.
Yeah, cool. So I think that makes sense, and I think we're pretty good on understanding the assigned work.
Yes, we just reached the 15-minute over mark.
Oh my God, we're 15 minutes over. Thomas, yeah, we should really move on. Thomas?
Okay, I have a question on client work. Okay, can you give an example of a client? Because I usually hear client work. I don't know.
Sure, yeah. That. So the easiest place to find all our responsibilities is you would go to, so I'm gonna go to my main doc, and we have the new duodecant schedule. Does everyone know about the new duodecant schedule, buddy team schedule?
Yeah, it's like the old one, and you have to put the responsibilities again Mondays and Wednesdays.
Exactly.
And it's divided in sections.
Yes, exactly. All right. So
excuse me. Can you just repeat it again, please?
Oh, okay.
So the new duodecant buddy team schedule is just like the old octant schedule, except it's organized by sextant and duodecant instead of quadrant and octant. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so make sure that everybody knows that we're no longer using the old schedule. The old schedule should have a big, huge yellow bar that says, do not use, go to the new duodecant schedule. So someone should double check that right now and make sure it does. So at the very end of this duodecant schedule or the octant, either one, is the info tab. Under the info tab, it has all of the list of all the responsibilities, include the client responsibilities. So if you click on the client responsibilities, you can see the list of how many client responsibilities do we have? Like a few hundred?
Yeah.
So that's projects. So we click on responsibilities. Here we go, responsibilities. And we should be updating this for percentage complete and how it's going. There's still obviously more work to be done on that. And this isn't even a complete list. These are just like the overall, these are all the umbrella responsibilities and the primary responsibilities. It doesn't include sub-responsibilities. So there's only like 100 of them, but there's probably twice as many responsibilities if you actually break it down per individual responsibility. So does that answer your question, Thomas?
Yeah.
Cool. So and everybody's required to have like one client responsibility at level 3. I think that's a proposal that we have. And then for level 4, you need to have 2 client responsibilities minimum.
So you have to watch some videos so that you can understand that. Then you can work on that client work, and someone can verify whether it's correct or wrong, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's up to you to choose which client work you want to work on. Obviously, go to the overall priorities, right? In the overall priorities doc in your team priorities, and choose priorities that are client priorities as opposed to randomly choosing things that aren't priorities, right? But other than that, yes, the answer is that you are responsible for choosing your own client responsibilities. Each team, Sextant team, is responsible for making sure the buddy teams are organized, and that every buddy team should be getting organized and making sure that everybody has their client responsibilities and their other responsibility. Everyone needs 5 responsibilities, right? So at the beginning of every single buddy team, you should be reviewing your responsibilities and make sure you have enough responsibilities for not just that buddy team session, but the entire week. Does everyone understand that?
Yes, understood.
Cool.
And can you do the same client work as a buddy team? As a main buddy team, can you do the same work?
I missed that. Can you do the same work? What? Say that again.
Okay. Can you work on one task as a buddy team?
Yes. So when you have at the beginning of a buddy team, let's say you have 2 buddies, 2 people in the buddy team, you're going to put your 5 responsibilities. They're going to put their 5 responsibilities or whatever things that you guys have to work on, and then you're going to see what overlaps, and you only need 1 responsibility per buddy team that you can work on together, right? Ideally, buddy teams will be able to share in the knowledge so that you're able to work on multiple things simultaneously. One buddy might not have time to do the training and have a deadline to meet, and so the other person can watch training videos simultaneously. But the point is that buddy teams can work on the same thing together. That's what buddy teams are for, is to make sure that there's a space to learn and teach and support each other to meet the goals of the responsibility. Because these responsibilities are not easy, right? We have a lot of responsibilities, and that's why we buddy up, so that we're able to figure out and solve the problems together. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we are also now getting to the 20-minute mark and the 3-hour time of this session.
Oh yeah, we should take another quick break and stand up. How about a 30-second break, and then maybe we can move on from this topic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
All right, I'm just stretching a little bit. So going backwards again, let's going back to the payroll. We didn't fully finish the output bonus. We got sidetracked on the assigned work and the client work hours, which is important if people don't understand that. But do you guys want to go back into the output bonuses and deliverables real quick, or are you ready to move on?
I think we should go for the output bonuses.
Okay, so let's go back to the output bonuses. This is important stuff. You know, this is people's pay. Blah 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 blah. All right, so the first thing is that ideally within the actual output, and we're actually changing this a little bit, where it's going to be. I think we have it here in the new. Yeah, the new model. So up here, October 15th through 11th. Let's see if it's updated. And this is just way too big. I don't like how big this is. I like it to be nice and small. Just way too much information, way too big. There we go. Doesn't that look nicer? I like it better. Okay, good. All right, so we're changing this to be like, oh my God, it's not changed. Okay, let me copy and paste it from over here. So the deliverables and the output and the other senior manager work is going to be all in the same thing. So right now we had FQN output and client output, and so we're going to get rid of that. We're just going to say output, deliverables, other senior manager time. So other/senior manager time. Okay? And then you just have to specify under the output Was it FQN output? Was it exit output? You know, was it Anya output? Was it Jorge output? Was it some other client output? Right. So that's just going to simplify it a little bit because we just don't have enough space to add in more thing for senior manager time. Because senior manager time is the new bonus time. When you're a senior manager and you take on your shifts, those shifts, by the way, I'm actually the senior manager shift right now, which is kind of exciting. But those senior manager shifts are bonus hours up to $250 a month per person. Okay?
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back here. So Steve, he says taxes. Steve doesn't quite realize that he didn't really do deliverable and taxes. So let's do Zilu. So 5.5 hours. 0.1 hours doesn't make any sense. And that's that target. So 1.5 hours of output, we don't know what it is. And that's it. Oh no, 2 hours of deliverables. Again, we don't even know what that is. It's probably not even a deliverable. And what is the deliverable? You know, what is it? Okay, Thomas, can you go over there and make sure people know that when you're putting client output in deliverables, that you can put in parentheses what it's for, so that it's not just the number. Okay.
Okay.
Let them know that, because I think that's important for them to know, because it's just not possible to do this in any effective way without that. Cool. All right. So if we're adding this all up, what we end up with Zilu is he basically has 2 hours, maybe just 2 hours of deliverables, and then over here we have an additional hour and a half. So that would be 3, and we have 5 hours. So let's see what that works out to. 3 times 5, 3 plus 5 is 8, right? 8.5. So then I would go ahead here and I would write 8.5 hours of total hours of bonus hours. Okay?
Okay.
So then let's see if it even matters. So then we come up here to Zilu. Here's Zilu. He worked 93 hours, right? And his total 5-week budget would be 312, but his actual would be 292. So what does that mean? Right? So let's say we have 5 weeks. He says we're working 20 hours a week. So we do 20 hours a week times 5 weeks is 100 hours. And he worked 93.3 hours. And so he has 8.5 bonus hours. What does it mean? Can you guys figure it out or not?
Well, if we add up the hours, I mean, he's making a little bit over 100%.
No, this already includes all of his hours, because this is overall work hours, which includes all of your hours, and your bonus hours are included as part of your overall hours. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So do you guys understand what's going on here, or do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead and explain it one more time, just in case.
Well, I haven't explained it yet. I was trying to push you guys to figure it out. So if Zilu has 93.5 hours of total hours, and he was supposed to work 100 hours, it doesn't matter that he has 8.5 bonus hours. Those are hours that we paid him to work. He's doing the work that he was expected to do. He didn't do any more work than he was expected to do. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So the only bonus he would get would be the senior manager hour, but it's 0.1. I mean, he didn't even do a full shift, or if he completed deliverable. It says here that he may have completed the deliverable, but what is it? I don't know, and I doubt it. You know, so we're not going to give him any deliverable. But even if that would be like a $5, $10, $20 deliverables bonus. But overall, the point is that he didn't do extra work beyond what he already was expected to get paid. Okay, so let's go to the next person, which would be Abdul. Right, so I would say that this would just be 0 as far as Zilu is concerned. Right, and if anything, the only, oh my God, sorry, there we go, green. So maybe he has a deliverables bonus. The difference between a deliverables bonus, the difference between a deliverable bonus and an output bonus is a deliverables bonus is just hours. It's like bonus hours, output bonus hours. Whereas an output bonus is output bonus hours, whereas a deliverable bonus, you can actually get a bonus on top of your pay, regardless of the number of hours that you work, because you finished. It's like an extra bonus on top of. Whereas output bonus is like the whole idea that people don't do output to begin with is insane, right? It's like output is what it should be the expectation, but the reason we give a bonus for it is because it allows you to uncap your hours. So as long as you're working on output and actually finishing something, you can work as many hours as you want to and get paid for all of them. Does that make sense?
It does.
What we don't do is we don't endlessly pay people to basically not accomplish anything, which is what the majority of people do, is they work on stuff, but they never actually finish it, either because they don't know how or because there's not organized or whatever. There's a million reasons why people don't finish things, but that is the majority of why majority of workers don't actually accomplish final output. And that's also part of why most businesses fail, because people just don't accomplish what they say they're going to do. All right, so let's go into Abdul. So Abdul did work the total number of hours. So we find Abdul. He's right here. For the last week, it says there's 4.5 hours of output. Yes, Thomas?
I've just informed them about that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So we have 4.5 hours of Abdul output. Again, we don't know what is it. What is this? Obviously, probably we could go into his work reporting doc and find out a little bit more information. Let's see if it's in there. So it says output hours. It says nothing. We have senior management work of hours. And again, this would be work credits. So he's not doing good with his work credits. So this would be a work credit. All these would be work credits, hours of work credits. Hours of work credits. And this is not bonus hours, right? So we don't need the bonus hours there. It's not applicable. So it's 7 hours of work, right? So this is 4.5, 8.75 hours of work. That make sense?
Yeah.
And then all this other work is work credits. So anyways, but whatever. But the point here is that there's no, here we go, output, 4.5. Budget. You worked on the budget. Individual buddy team, Abdul Doc, sextant manager shift. 1.5 hours. Individual buddy team, Abdul sextant manager shift. Okay, well, this is just bonus work, budget work. It doesn't even say what budget he worked on. So output, individual Abdul Monday, output 1 hour, output, exit docs. All right, so we edited some exit docs. That's client work, but it's not output. Okay, so anyways, this is not output. But let's pretend it is output, okay? So Abdul. Does everyone understand why that wasn't output?
It didn't get accomplished a result for anything, because that's something you should be doing periodically. Doesn't end.
No, that's not really the answer. It's more like this one says there's an individual session, right? A buddy team session, and it says sextant manager shift, right? This is not output. That's a bonus hours for a sextant manager shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why he did 1.5 hours anyways. The sextant manager shift is supposed to be 5 hours, but whatever. I don't care about that. Budget. Well, what budget did he work on, and did he finish the budget? I have no idea. And do we even give budget? Is the FQN budget, which we have to assume it is that even a bonus? Do you even have that output bonus for that? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to double check. Individual work, Monday output 1 hour. Again, it says there's nothing here. This is just work. He did work, output, there's no information here. So the issue isn't actually that he didn't complete something, it's that he didn't even write down anything that he had completed. Right? Does that make sense, Jorge?
Yeah, he wasn't specific.
He didn't specify. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't specify what he did, so there's no output. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So
sorry,
the budget,
we just read the 30 minutes mark.
So the budget component here, we can't double check on the output for this particular budget item here, because I do remember him working on the budget. And this would be, if we go to the projects virtual drawer, let's see if I have it open already. Here we go, and we go to budgeting. We're going to go to the output budget. So this would be the overall budget for October, November, December. And I'm going to the output budget. Oh, that's wrong. All right, so we're just going to the global team budget for October, November. And we click on the output budget. Investor relations, umbrella accounting budget. So see here we have $150 to work on FQN or EXA budgets, right? So that would definitely count. So we just confirmed that it works, and so we can add here, Abdul, what is this? So we know we have 1 hour is equal to budget work, right? A budget output,
right?
Budget output. It wasn't really output. Did he really finish it? Who knows? Whatever. Who cares? It's an hour, and we're trying to practice here. Okay. So that's it.
Okay.
There's nothing else. Wait. Maybe documentation of this. No documentation. 2.5 hours. Client output. I don't know. Let's give it a try. So let's gonna go look down here. Client output. Is there anything there? 0.25 hours. EXA reimbursement spreadsheet. That's finance work. Okay. 1.75 EXA reimbursement spreadsheet. Okay. So he did EXA reimbursement spreadsheet for the other one, which I think is also would count as finance work and very, very important. EXA reimbursement. Okay. So we have 2.5 hours plus, and he did actually complete that, so it is actually output. Plus 1 hour, 3.5 hours. Let's just say 3 hours, okay? 3 hours. All right? So this would be 3 bonus hours. So then if you come up here, you can see here that Abdul worked 106 hours, 106.8 hours. His budget was $500, but his money based on hours was $711, right? So then you come over here, and you would see Abdul worked 15 hours times 5 weeks, and you can see that he worked over 25 additional hours. Is that correct? 106.
That's correct.
25 additional hours. Anyways, we'll pay based on the back pay rate, I believe. Let me double check that. Back pay rate or non-back pay rate? So yeah, I think it's back pay rate. Is it? Maybe not. I don't remember. Who cares? So 3 times 7, let's do 3.7, $21. So about 20 bucks. Anyways, obviously after you have it down, it's pretty clear, and we just could see what he did, and it's really would go a lot faster. But this would be bonus hours of about $20. You know, I would just say maybe we could do 25 because he probably did more output than this, and there's this other 4.5, and who knows what happened, but 25 is perfectly fine. So I'd come over here and I'd add Abdul, I'd do $25 of output. I'm gonna make it green. And that's a quarter of his weekly pay. So that's a substantial amount of money for Abdul. If it was me.
Only in bonuses, right?
Say what?
In bonuses, right?
That's output bonus hours. So that comes out of his back pay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So then this should automatically add it up, and then we should make this green, and then we'd be ready to pay him. So are there any questions on how that worked with the output?
I think it was clear, I guess so.
Really, I think I'm
Yeah,
clear.
so then the next one would be Steve. So I'd come in here, and it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it's like, the idea is just do it. So Steve, 10 hours, I'm assuming this is taxes. All right, so then we come here, 5 hours. Again, this is probably taxes. And 5 hours taxes. So if we have 5 plus 5 is 10 is 20 hours. 20 hours. All right, and then here comes the problem with Steve is he doesn't actually track his hours. It's 63.9, 68.7, 550, right? So do you see the problem for Steve? So Steve says he's working 15 hours a week, right? So if we do 15 hours a week times 5 weeks, that's 75 hours. And it says that he worked only 69.3 hours. You guys understand what I'm saying? For Steve?
Yeah, I'm saying it.
So he didn't work the number of
75
hours that he was even expected to work. Unfortunately, in Steve's case, it's primarily because he doesn't freaking track his hours, which is a problem because if he doesn't track his hours, then we can't bill the client, and then we lose money if we paid him all the hours that he didn't track. Right? So Steve probably worked additional hours, he just didn't track them. So how are we supposed to pay him bonus hours if he didn't even track the hours? So it's like, you know, so if he has deliverables, and we know he helped with the taxes, but the taxes actually happened, I think it was actually that week, but he didn't write down any deliverables. He barely hit the deliverables mark there, but we could add a little bonus for deliverables. Let's see what it would be for taxes, right? So we go to deliverables. We have a very, very small deliverables budget. When people are more capable of doing deliverables, we'll increase this budget, but it's difficult. So taxes, we give $20 per taxes. So we could give him like 10 bucks, right? Because he helped with it with a set of taxes, right? So it's like, you know, maybe we could put, you know, $10, $20 here for taxes. But again, we can't give him output because he didn't track his hours. There's no, you know, unless he worked more hours and he tracks more hours, then there's no bonus hours to give him because he didn't work any additional hours. And he did work on 2 sets of taxes. Let me think about this for a second. So he worked on Anya's taxes. No, he just did Anya's taxes.
No, here. It was only Anya's.
So we'll give him like, and he worked on a lot of it. So we'll give him 75% of Anya's taxes bonus, right? Because every set of taxes gets a $20 bonus. Every set of taxes should be like a $200 bonus. We just don't have enough money in our budget to give all these bonuses, and 99% of the people don't know how to do deliverables anyways, right? Deliverables are really hard. It's even harder than output. We have trouble getting, it's like pulling teeth to get people to do output and actually complete something, let alone to have a deliverable, right? So I think we're ready to move on. I think you guys understand the output. So obviously there's a couple other things that need to be fixed out in here. Lucy might have had some bonus stuff that we'd want to add. Asif Iqbal, I don't know why we're subtracting money from him. Maybe it's because he got overpaid last month. All right, so I think we're ready to move up. Do you guys want to wrap up and just check out, or do you guys want to try to do some monthly goals, or what? Or do you want to do this new proposal here? I would vote no on this proposal because it's not clear. I just don't understand it.
Oh, the Mela proposal.
Yeah.
The one you just came back.
It's not clear in relationship to like the existing responsibility, and I don't understand what the senior manager responsibility is beyond this. Plus, senior managers already have lots and lots of responsibilities, so maybe that might be too much to add to them. Like the last thing we want to do is just tell their senior managers you have to do everything when they're already responsible for doing everything. You know. So I don't know if anyone else wants to vote on this. It's perfectly fine to vote yes as well. I mean, do you want to vote on it, Lilia, or Jorge, or Thomas? See?
I'm not really sure about it, so I wouldn't be able to give a good vote because I didn't even understand it.
You're always welcome to abstain.
Yeah. I'll abstain.
Joyce, Thomas?
I'll vote for no for me.
Jorge, Asif, Joyce?
I would say no.
No, also.
Asif?
I'll go for no.
No.
Yeah, I'll go for no, Jay.
All right, so let's just say primarily because we don't understand it. All right, so Thomas, you can Skype them, let them know that we didn't pass the proposal, primarily because we didn't understand it, right? All right, so let's go on to monthly goals.
The new month.
Or we can just wrap up. I mean, aren't we at 3.5 hours already? I mean, this seems really long.
Actually, I was going to tell you that.
3.5
Yeah, we are
hours.
getting 3.5 hours.
Maybe we could just really quickly, okay, this is my proposal, or my recommendation. We would really quickly review what the other team did for goals and just check on them really fast, and then we'll do a checkout and a round of checkout, and each of us during our checkouts will say what we want to see happen over next month, and then we'll be checked out and be done. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so the first thing I want to do is find the notes for the secondary group. So Thomas, if you can let them know by Skype or whatever that we're basically moving towards checkouts now. We're gonna check out and wrap up. And where's their doc? Oh, here we go. Second hangout group.
Okay, I'll just go to the hangouts. So
or you can just Skype
just
them on the Newman session. Okay, so then we're gonna go down to.
I'm not in that.
Okay, so guys, can you guys see my screen?
Let's Skype.
Okay, it's fine. You can
Yes.
just go over there. Do you see
Yep.
my screen?
Yes.
So one thing
Yes.
that people forget is they forget to update the table of contents. So you click on it and you click the little update button, and then it actually updates the table of contents. People just don't do that. Monthly goals. Getting J local help, nonprofit taxes, recruitment, work on the websites, manual blocks, or entities. Oh, what's this? Oh, look, it's Mel. Let's all say hi to Mel. Hey, Mel.
Hey, I need a coffee, so I'm gonna go to the Starbucks first if you want anything, but I was wondering if you just wanted to work at Starbucks today just for a change, or does it take you out of your flow?
Well, we're still in the middle of the New Moon session, and I'm when going 3.5 hours, so I am gonna need a little bit of a time just to break. But you can say hi to everyone if you want to. But anyways, I'll call you right back in a little bit. But we should totally meet up and get done as much as we can. You know.
Okay, because I could just work at Starbucks until you're ready, until like 4 or something.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
I'll call you in a little bit. All right. Ciao. All right, so here are the monthly goals from the other group. And we'll just copy and paste those into ours. And then we're gonna do a round of checkouts, and you guys can comment on the goals and add anything that you wanna add, and also check out and say how the session went for you. And I think that's pretty much it. So who wants to start? Oh, so
Jay,
just a question
about
yeah, Joyce?
about the review of my going to level 4, shall we do it on the instead? Because maybe you're in a hurry now.
Yeah, you can do that at any session, any weekly session. It doesn't have to be the New Moon session. Generally speaking, I don't remember prioritizing it. Let's take a look at our priorities here. So we have our setup and our topics. I had you under other. I had review Joyce level 4 that you didn't prioritize it. So when we asked about priorities, you didn't say that you wanted to prioritize that. So we didn't do it.
Okay. I missed that.
So do you want to do that right now, or?
Yeah, if it's okay for you,
well, it's not about me. It's about the whole group. I mean, we're at 3.5 hours, so.
Yeah, so we can do on your Africa if you want.
Is that okay with everybody? Just not to do Joyce, and just save it for later. And again, the place to prioritize it is at the beginning. Well, there's no guarantee it's going to be fast. You know, we should do it thoroughly and actually go through it to help her. If we're going to do it, it makes more sense than just trying to do it fast.
Just sorry, I just want to say that we can go for a review because it will be helpful for her as well, and it will motivate her for the work, and it will be beneficial for her sextant as well. So I request all of you to be for 5 to 10 minutes more. That's my recommendations. Else I can go with the majority.
Does anyone object to spending a little more time? No? Okay, so let's start. Let's do Joyce's thing here. Thomas, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I've just gone to the secondary hangout, the old one, and they have told me that they almost will check out in next 10 minutes.
Okay, we're doing one more item before we check out, which is Joyce. Reviewing Joyce's levels. Okay. So you can Skype them quickly and let them know that. But again, I mean, you don't need to go there just to Skype them to let them know that we're doing Joyce as well. But anyways, we'll be checking out soon. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to pull up the, I believe it'll be under worker coordination. And we are looking for the levels, the worker levels.
You want me to give the link?
Well, no, I want to make sure it's organized. Doc for level 4 independent buddy teams. But it should be a spreadsheet. Why does it say doc? Level 4 independent buddy team doc. So that's for the scheduling. This is scheduling. Doc for level 4 independent buddy team scheduling doc. So, I mean, I don't know why it would be linked here. Maybe I'm just missing it. But it should be here. Or maybe it should be somewhere. Maybe it's under personnel support. I don't know. Is it personnel support? Is that the problem? It seems like it probably should be both personnel support and worker coordination, right? Can you guys think of anything else it should be under?
I'm checking under work support.
Under what?
Work support.
Worker support. I mean, worker coordination. It was worker coordination, right? What are you saying, Jorge?
Yeah, I was checking under worker support. I'm sorry.
Worker support is not a project. What are you talking about? It's worker.
I was checking all the documents, but then wait.
I'm confused. What?
I'm checking on the document list. Give me a second, probably I'll find it.
Cool. Well, I have it here. We just need to copy and paste it to the right place so that it should be there. So if you have the link, Joyce, please link it to the doc.
Is it the independent individual? Independent.
Yeah, it would be under the policies, independent levels. So.
This is the one. Okay.
Individual team levels. Here we go. Individual team levels. This is it right here.
Yeah, I have also.
Individual and team levels. Okay, so this needs to be put in a couple other places. It needs to be in personnel support. Individual team levels. It needs to be in worker coordination. Individual and team levels. Okay, cool. And then we're going to put it in our notes as well. Where are our notes? Individual and team levels. Yay. Okay. So then I click on individual and team levels. And that should be way easier to do. We should be able to do that really quickly. I don't know why it took us like 3 minutes for that. All right, so then the first thing we're gonna do is find Joyce. Here's Joyce. And so the other next thing you wanna do is you wanna make sure that it's clear that you're proposing for level 4, because right now it just has you level 3. So we go ahead and make this yellow so that we know that you are proposing for level 4. Open this up a little bit. So it says, Joyce, yes, you have main doc and it's linked. Perfect. So here's your main doc. Start opening. Yes, availability schedule. Yes, list of responsibilities. List of responsibilities sign off. I love your all your different fonts. So let's start with availability. Where's your availability? Scheduling availability. There's your scheduling availability. That's good. Oh, here's all your buddy teams. Nice. Look at that. It's like better than mine. Responsibility for all workers. So responsibility for all workers, we want to make sure people start having the actual link. So that needs to be fixed. Jay's main doc. Responsibility for all workers doc. So the nice thing about having the link is that when we make changes, it's applicable to everybody, right? All right, so let's check out some of these responsibilities. FQ and payroll. So see how she organizes her responsibilities by project, right? She's clearly differentiating, and Joyce makes it really clear that this is the project and there's responsibilities within the project. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, so that,
I see that.
So that clearly differentiates that she understands the responsibility and how they're responsibility separate from the project. Like, you don't understand how many times we go through these and people just list a bunch of projects, and it's like, obviously a responsibility is not a project, and you can't, a project is not a responsibility. There's way too much work, right? FQ and payroll is way, way too much work. So verify spreadsheet for time, hours, and pay. So do you know how to do that?
Yes.
Can anyone else vouch for Joyce knowing how to do that?
I do.
Final verification of payroll. So first of all, final verification of payroll is not something that you would typically do.
Yeah, with Abdul, I'm doing with Abdul actually.
Yeah, so I think that you just have it wrong here, because it's not about final because technically final verification of payroll is a responsibility, and it's actually a separate responsibility. It has to do with this final verification right here with step V and Z, right? And final verification is always done by someone else who has not done the initial verification. Does that make sense? So it's a double verification, right? So basically what I'm saying is that this is a responsibility, but I just don't think it's your responsibility, and I don't think you technically know how to do it. What you want to do is you want to just do normal payroll verification. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
And so this you would know how to do. Can anyone else vouch for Joyce that she knows how to do the payroll verification?
I do, Jay. Can verify that.
Yeah, you've seen her do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Personnel support, updating HR and personnel ranking. So updating the HR and personnel ranking is a lot, and it's not done very well. Additionally, it's an umbrella responsibility. Oops. And so therefore, it has a lot of sub-responsibilities, and you should know about each one of them, because I would doubt you know how to do all of them. And if you know how to do all of them, then you should write them all down. I want to see all of them.
Okay.
Okay. So question, which ones? Which ones?
The first column.
There are like 5 or 8.
Sorry to interrupt, but you did mention that every task we should give it 10 minutes. We have been working on this one for 7.
Okay, cool, thank you. And it's 5 to 10, but yeah, perfect. Okay, onboarding process, assisting and helping new recruits, creating main docs. Okay, this is great. Onboarding process, and we even have a link for that. Have you seen the link for this? Let's link it here.
Yeah,
Since you're so organized, we might as well link it here. The onboarding process doc. All right, so add that to your list of links to make it all organized for you. All right,
okay,
so
thank you.
yeah. Okay, so the onboarding process is great. That is very, very important, and I can confirm that you know how to do that. So let's see, how many are we at so far? 1, 2, 3. Recruitment is definitely a responsibility, but it's an umbrella responsibility, and it's not applicable for, it's not detailed enough. So we'd want to get more details on recruitment. Responsibility organizing also is not technically a responsibility. It's what's called a process. Onboarding process is also a responsibility and a process. Responsibility organizing is not a responsibility, it's a process, so it doesn't count because it's part of your actual overall work. Updating master decisions doc. So the master decisions doc is really part of we call it, it's a session position.
Document organizing.
Well, it's a session position, and it happens after sessions, and it's supposed to happen after every session. Okay.
1 minute for the 10-minute mark.
Do you have any other documentations responsibilities that you know how to do? And so let's say you updated the master decisions doc for the client, right? That would be something that would be really valuable to help out on. Plus, it would be client work, and it's something that's a high priority. So EXA client master or decisions doc updated. Any other documentation stuff? Worker coordination, updating the position spreadsheet. I don't know what that is. The position spreadsheet, updating the position spreadsheet. I mean, the problem with this position spreadsheet is it's not updated. Not updated. Do you want me to check the update this position spreadsheet or not? Because I don't think it's updated.
Okay.
I mean, are you saying that you updated? You know how to update the position spreadsheet or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Yes, I know.
You know? Okay.
Sorry.
So we can check this one. But let's see where we're at right now. So we got 1, 2, 3. So we're at 3 possible 4. So we can check that one. Updating personnel time equity sheets. So this one, I'm assuming you do know how to do this one because a lot of people know how to do that. It's also pretty easy. But unfortunately, it's not a priority and it's not assigned.
Okay.
But it's really close. So that's also a possible one that could take you over the top. Calendar scheduling with Lucy. I'm not sure what the with Lucy means. But what is calendar scheduling? What does that mean? I think that's a little bit umbrella-y. It's not very clear what that is. So part of your responsibility of being at level 4 and actually being organized is knowing not just what you're doing, but being able to communicate to other people. So we all have to use the same vocabulary for what the different responsibilities are, right? Like, for example, the verify the spreadsheet for time, work, hours, and pay is a specific responsibility, and we should all use the same vocabulary. You know, and I would actually say this is update/verify, right? So there's like technically it's 2 types, but there's the same thing. So calendar scheduling is just not clear. So calendar and scheduling, it's basically the same thing as the project. You see that there's no difference, that there's no clarity on what this is. It's like, what did you do? Quintent and sextant support. Help organize the Australia team Quintent. So this is, again, this is very, very broad, and it's not specific, and it's not technically a responsibility. It's more of like a project, but, or at least umbrella style, you know, it's like, what is that? Easy entities taxes. So do you know how to do taxes or what? I don't know if you know how to do taxes. How do you know how to do taxes?
I practiced it with Silu and Abdul.
Do you even know what taxes are though? Like, what is taxes?
Oh, what? Come again, Jay?
Okay, so like you're not even explaining what taxes are, right? So if you can't even tell me what taxes are, it doesn't imply that you know how to do it, right? So the fact that you did it with somebody else has nothing to do with whether or not you know how to do it. So basically, a couple things here. One is that you only need 5 responsibilities you know how to do, right? So you're listing like all of your priorities. This is almost like a priorities list. So does everyone understand? Let me make sure this is really clear on the notes. The difference between priorities and responsibilities. Anyone give an example? What's a responsibility? What is a priority?
Yeah, I think priority can be our goals. Priority can be anything. Priority can be task. Priority can be responsibility.
I couldn't quite hear you. If you could talk a little slower. Can you talk a little slower and louder?
I think problem. Wait. Is it okay now?
Yeah. Much better.
Yeah, much more better.
Is something to achieve your goals, to achieve your tasks, so to complete your task.
Okay, wait. Hey, can you slow down? Can you slow down, Steve? So the question is, what is a responsibility? And the other question is, what is a priority, and what is the difference? So, can you start with one or the other? Because I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll talk about priority first.
Okay, thank you.
Priority is something which any goal or any task you wanted to do, you prioritize it for yourself. Okay. Responsibility is consist of different tasks we complete. So it will be I think it contains of many.
So I think that's pretty good. Generally speaking, the priority could be something which is any goal, any task, any project, like anything that you want to work on and you want to do for yourself. And so your priority list can include both things you know how to do and you don't know how to do, because everything, right? Then you have your responsibilities. Responsibilities aren't really tasks. They're more like, it's like a set of tasks that you complete to accomplish a specific work goal, right? So, and we have other responsibility definitions, but generally speaking, you can have a list of responsibilities that you know how to do, right? So this could be any responsibility. And then you have your list of the 5 responsibilities you know how to complete. Right? So it could be much more organized, right? So that this could happen a little faster. Because I mean, if the goal would be to focus on the responsibilities you know how to do, and it should go up pretty quickly. So from here, it's just like, this is almost more like a priorities list, like a list of all the priorities that Joyce has, but not necessarily the list of her specific responsibilities that she knows how to do. Right? So, but we're really close. Okay, so let's finish this list. Here we go. So calendar and scheduling is just not a responsibility. This would be calendar and scheduling support, right? But it's not really a specific responsibility. And this is also support. These are just support roles, but within Quinton, Sexton, organizing support, there's probably like 10 to 15 plus responsibilities. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Right? And this one is probably like 30 plus responsibilities. It's like, what responsibility specifically do you know how to do? So again, one part of going to level 4 is being able to get specific. You actually specifically know how to do something. So for example, VZ entities taxes is not necessarily a responsibility. Taxes is a responsibility, but really taxes is a project. It's a sub-project. But it's like, you need to be able to explain what taxes are and how they work and what you're going to do to work on them, and you don't. So maybe you have different things you worked on. Maybe you don't even know that it is actually finances, and you think it's taxes, but actually it's finances, right? And when you're doing trainings with people, insist that they clarify what the responsibility is. Jorge, can you repeat what I'm saying in your own words, like what that means? Like what do it mean to get training and you're in a buddy team or whatever, and then you want to insist what is the responsibility that we're currently working on, right? Because if you don't know what the responsibility you're working on, you can't tell anybody else what responsibility you've learned that you know how to do. So can you explain what that means, Jorge?
Responsible is like one of the small parts that I'm sorry, when we're working on the projects have different responsibilities to help us get there, help us get the the main goal achieved.
But again, it's not the definition of a responsibility. It's the phrase and the vocabulary of the responsibility. So like, let's say you're in a buddy team with Lucy and she's training you on something. All right, you know what she's doing and you understand the goal, but what I'm saying is you need to know the specific vocabulary term for the responsibility so you can communicate it with someone else. Every single responsibility has a link. Every single responsibility has a document, a location, and a term so that everyone knows what every responsibility is, and it's the same for everybody, right? So if you only know the goal and you don't know the actual term of the responsibility, then everybody will call the same responsibility a different phrase or different name, and then no one will know what they're talking about, right? So it's very important.
Yeah, and there are more tasks within the responsibilities.
And there could be tasks within the responsibilities as well that should have specific names as well. So the point is that we have 300 responsibilities. Every single one of those 300 responsibilities is a specific name and can be specifically indexed and specifically addressed. So it's really important when you guys are getting training that you're not just like, oh, I'm getting training on generally finances. It's like finances is not a responsibility. You can't get trained to do finances. The only responsibility that is involved with the project is oversight, accountability, and management of that project. And so therefore, the responsibilities associated with the project are overseeing all the 10, 20, 30, 40 responsibilities within finances. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes more sense for me.
So when you're learning responsibilities, it's a specific responsibility with a specific goal and a specific set of tasks that help accomplish that goal. Okay. So treasurer, support, payroll, money, security. Again.
Sorry, we are 10 minutes over the mark.
Okay, cool. Life support, updating, creating, linking individual life support docs. So that is actually a responsibility. It's not really an assigned responsibility, but it's close. Creating life support docs for newcomers, this also is a responsibility. So do you see how much more specific this? Updating, creating, linking individual supporting docs is specific. It has to do with life support, and it's very specific and very, very clear. Whereas treasurer, support, payroll in general is not clear, right? Taxes in general is not clear. It's like what part of taxes, what part of finances. So I mean, I would say you're really close, but it's not quite up to the level that we would want to go. So let's go back to here. Jocelyn, so are there any other responsibilities you know how to do that you want to add to your list? Or do you want to take a little more time on that, or what? So 3+. Jocelyn? Joyce, are you there?
Yes.
Was there any other responsibility, like specific responsibility you wanted to add to your list?
Yeah, like the calendar. The responsibility there is the verification.
So I think she was talking about the
verification.
I think she was talking about the verification of the calendar. That she knows how to do the calendar verification, calendar date.
Lucy, one you can.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm not sure exactly what the specific. What I know that there's a better term. This isn't the actual term, So I'll put some question marks there because there's a specific responsibility for verifying the dates, and there's a spreadsheet and everything like that. So again, I mean, without Lucy here, it's hard to verify that because I can't verify that you know how to do it. But anyways, you're really close, and trust me, we're pretty flexible, so don't worry too much about this. We're going pretty good here. Link 50% of buddy team, 7% have 5. That's definitely good. Tech communication's good. English is good. Recording, you know how to do recordings?
Yes, I know.
But you don't know how to do the weekly master note schedule. Do you know how to do the global master list of docs?
I cannot understand this one. What does it mean?
Okay, so
yes, excuse me, Jay.
Because I link all the my body teams to the Supra team.
Just please listen to me. I think she should spend 1 more or 2 more weeks to organize herself more. I think she's really close enough. I mean, I am sorry to come in between, but as per my understanding, she should concentrate for 1 week or 2 weeks to get out there. Thank you.
Well, yeah, you're really close, Joyce. So, but again, even sometimes we'll have to see how it goes. 3 5 responsibilities, and then you had no on public interaction, no on master notes schedule, and global list of documents. Let's see if there's any other thing here, because you're really, really close. Was there anything else? And let's put level 4, Jocelyn. So level 2, 100%. Whoops. 100% for level 3. And so level 4, you'd be at like 75%. So you're green. It's just getting over that last little itty bitty hump. All right. Cool. So that's good. Level 5, you're probably about 15% of the way for level 5. So that's good as well. All right, so, and then what's this? Why is there, it's just a space, okay. Get rid of that. All right, so now what we wanna do is, so we got all the recordings are yes on that. So now we have really clear clarity on what you're missing and where you're at, and then we're just gonna go ahead and vote. When we do votes, we usually do official votes on this kind of thing. So everyone votes from 0 to 9. Because we want to give good feedback, not just yes or no, but like, more of a feedback of exactly where we feel Joyce is online. So I'll go first. I would give Joyce a 6.5. Maybe a 6.25. Which is pretty good. It's a little over the line. All right, so Asif. And just so you guys know, like, 5 is neutral. Asif and Jorge.
Sorry, actually, yeah, she should move to, she should, go for 1 more week, so I'll give her 5.5.
You're gonna give her 5?
0.5.
5.5. Okay. Jorge.
I don't know. I would say 5.
5.
Yep.
Thomas.
I think I'll give her 6.
6. Jorge. Oh no, I already did Jorge. Lilia.
I will go for a 5.5.
Okay. So what we end up with, and we're not going to have Joyce vote because that would be an obvious conflict of interest, even though she technically can, it just wouldn't count. So 6.25 plus 5.5 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5.5 divided by 5 is a 5.65. So the average is equal to 5.65. So basically, it's really close. Like a 6 is equal to what's called a positive abstention. 5 is equal to a neutral abstention. Neutral abstention. So I don't know. I mean, it's like Joyce. If you want to try to push it some more, we can. Otherwise, I think we're kind of in the boat with the Asif that giving it another week or 2 could be potentially good, because I think you're pretty much there. It's just a matter of just finalizing a couple little nitpicks. At the same time, it's like technically speaking, you're over the 5. Like the fact that you got 5s and 6s means that we support you, and we believe that based on the fact that the Australia session. Wait, you're in Africa, right?
No, I told you, I'm choosing Australia.
Yeah, well, you're interested in doing Australia work. It's at a difficult time for you, but if you want to take on the senior manager shifts and stuff, we do need people at level 4. So I mean, you're so close. It's like, I think it's fine to wait another week or 2. but technically speaking, it is above the 5. Like there was no one voted no. Everyone voted neutral or like slightly above neutral. And obviously the main reason is just wanting more people at level 4. But unless you want to push it more, I think we would basically say that, you know, we kind of that it's really an abstention, which was equal to you know, wait a week or so. But you could push it, and we could try to get the other team to check in on it. And I don't know, how do you feel, Joyce? Are you okay waiting a week, or what do you want?
No, I'm okay waiting a week.
Okay, cool. So let's just leave it at that then.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So then we just reached the 4-hour mark of the session.
cool. So let's go ahead and check out now. The questions are how the session went, you know, your responsibilities and goals for the month. All right, and you know, anything else that you want to share? Anything else you need to share? I'll start. For me, I definitely want to add the goal of, you know, add it just right here, to do the Selenium calendar. I really want to get the Selenium calendar set up, and I want to get it switched to Selenium calendar in the next month. That would be awesome, or at least get ready to switch, because I want to switch. I thought the meeting went really well. The session went well, and I have lots and lots of things to do, including Exa payroll, FQN payroll. I've got lots and lots of, you know, investor relations and billing and treasurer work and tons of other priorities and organizing, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm really overwhelmed. I really want to hire local help as soon as possible. I've been saying that for about 6 months or 8 months now, because there's so much paperwork and so many other things that need to be dealt with, and all the bank relations. And yeah, so I'm definitely tired. I'm overwhelmed, working too much, but I feel like we're going good. And I also have to meet with Mel right now. Mel wants to meet up and work on all this investor relations stuff. So hopefully you can help bring us in money, but it kind of keeps going on and on and on and on. But that's it for me. Check. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Cool, Jorge.
Well, even though I didn't get it the same time everyone did, I think it was a more organized and very complete session. Still, improvements can be done, but I believe we're on the right path there to get there. Also, I'm still committed to help you out on payroll and variable support as we have been doing. And that will be my main goal for the week, for the month. That will be me. Check.
Yeah, payroll, Exa payroll tomorrow. And Jorge, what about a monthly goal? Like, what do you think should be a monthly goal for next week? Or you can also support one of the existing ones.
Yeah, I think that I would support recruitment, possibly if we get someone from locally, and manual blogs. Well, I've been working on manual blogs on my own, and sometimes I need help from the video, but I think I have it pretty much figured out. So I think it's okay.
Yeah. Great. Joyce.
Yeah, for the goal, we should really focus on the budget, team budget, to be approved by our sextant, and also yes, focus on more client works. The most important client works.
Great. Did you want to check out anything? How's the session for you? And
yeah, thanks for the session, and I'm willing to have 1 week more. It's okay, and also to be better more, you know.
Yeah, you're really close. It's really good. Just get a little more specific with your responsibilities, and you'll be good to go. So, Asif, you want to check out?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm really very much excited. You know, this was one of the best detailed session I've ever had. Oh, sorry, I'll go slow. This was the best session I ever have. This was a detailed session, and I'm really excited for the people who are trying their level best to go into the next level and getting organized and getting themselves organized. This will be very helpful for our community as well. And I'm looking for, you know, to take the ownership of responsibilities. Sorry, take the ownership of recruitment as well as the client, you know, work for the next month goal. Yeah, check.
What was your next month goal again?
Recruitment and you know, client work.
Well, I want to add to client work, just like, you know, management and overall just like verification of the client work. You know, I think that's going to be really important. Know what we have done and what we have not done. This is super important. All right, who's next? Thomas.
For me, the session was good. I was much excited on this session, and I've learned a lot. And my monthly goal is to make virtual office in action and make sure that everything is organized when it comes to virtual office. The monthly goal for now.
Nice. Cool. Last but not least, Lilia.
Thanks. Well, this month's goal for me will be working on responsibility organizing and taxes. Steve asked me if I could help him with those two tasks, and because I do know some of the formats of taxes, I will be helping him with that, and I'm very excited about it. And overall, the session, I think, went really well. I learned a lot, and I love the fact that we all participated a lot more. I love sessions that are like that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that having the smaller groups is just way more interactive. And I want to add one last thing to our goals is the VZ EXA mesh reconciliation. That needs to get done as soon as possible, and that's a key thing. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is just a big, huge mess and a big problem. We don't know where that money is going. Okay.
This is the one we want to work about.
Yeah. And that's all mainly like finances and stuff, so you guys could totally do that. All right, so I think we're done. There's definitely a lot of session value tracking to do. And I'm not sure exactly who signed up to that, but I mean, I think we could do it later because it's been 4 hours. Let's do it later.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Jay, can you take a look at my screen?
yeah, I can see your screen. What's that?
Is this the way, the one you told a while ago? Do not choose this, go to new.
Yeah, that's the old one. Do not use this. Go to the new buddy team schedule, the duodecans. So we should link the new duodecans schedule to that in bright yellow at the top.
Okay.
Hey, Natalie, we just finished. We just checked out. We're done.
Hi, everybody.
We finished also there. We are done just now.
Okay, well, it's been like 4 hours, so we were thinking about, you know, stopping, and then, you know, somebody can step up to do the value tracking later. Or they can do it now, whatever's fine, but it's just like, let's let someone else do that.
Okay.
Oh, I need to go meet with Mel.
Okay.
Yeah, Melissa wants to do more. We're doing investor relations, so trying to bring in Moolah.
Nice.
So I think we're good. So if people want to stick around, we need to break up into buddy teams. So
it's just that I don't know. We shall be back for Pacific.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, just update us if you're not make it or you're not sure, whatever. Just send us Skype.
Okay, will do.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Take care.
Bye.
Bye.